What does it mean to you guys to be back here again and have another chance to take the title of Heroes of the Dorm?
It means everything to us to get the opportunity to go for it again. Not everyone gets that chance, obviously, as we're the only returning team from last year. So we want to really capitalize on that opportunity and take it all this year.
Have you noticed a difference between being the hunters versus the hunted in this tournament?
I think definitely like the psychological advantage, at least when you're the favorite. Last year we had kind of like that underdog mentality, but this year it seems like everyone's like really afraid of us, and we're really playing to that strength in our gameplay.
All right, so you guys are obviously like the top runners of this entire tournament, and I guess like for preparation, because you know you guys have been sweeping all of the teams that you've been facing. What kind of preparation have you done for your opponents that you'll be facing today? Like, have you done like drafting prep, and like what do you guys think about, especially going into your final match?
I think we've done all the necessary prep that we need to do. So we've, spent a couple hours yesterday just to fine-tune everything, make sure we've got our draft strategies down. First pick, second pick, what maps, all the good stuff. I think our next matchup, which is against UC Irvine, is going to be a very, very good matchup. It's the test of mechanical skill between two teams. We have a little bit more experience than they do, but they still, mechanically, they can potentially match us. And so we're just, we're first looking forward toward that match before anything else.
So what is some of the advice that some of you guys who have been on the big stage before and have played with all of this crowd, what is some of the advice that you've given to your teammates, but this is the first time they've been on the dorm stage?
So we basically described what the experience was like. We know exactly what's going to happen, and we kind of, we had a little bit of moment on the stage to set up, get comfortable, and, we went through rehearsal, so we know what it's going to feel like. And because of that, we've done our best to calm their nerves and tell them exactly what it is we're going to expect. And, Kevin and Toby are very calm players. They always keep their cool, and so I'm not too worried about it. I think they'll do great. They might actually excel under the pressure.
And one last question. So for you guys, what is kind of the biggest fear? Like, what is your absolute worst case scenario that happens when you're on the big stage for the first time? Like, what is kind of those scenarios that you've been running through? Not to try to psych you out or anything, but I think it's a very interesting dynamic.
The only thing I'm really worried about is just bad drafts. Because I feel like the only way we actually do is if Shea messes up drafts and he goes downhill. Because I still believe that we're just generally the better team. It's just we just gotta play well and play smart.
So you said you lose because of, you're gonna lose because of Cure, right? But if you win, is it because of Cure as well, or no?
I mean, Cure carry. Well, it's not like we're gonna lose because of Cure. I mean, if we get a bad draft, we could still win. It's just a lower chance of us winning. But I think Cure did a lot. I think he did his best to make sure we're all prepared and we're all in the mentality and prepping us with all the strats and how we play. So I think a lot of victory does go to Kira.
So he's like the guru of the team who decides everything?
Yeah.
It's a team effort.
He gets a little ahead of himself sometimes, and we just have to pull him back, pull him back.
So how much mind gaming and meta has been happening between the teams even before you guys have even set foot on the stage this week?
I think there's a lot because when we're playing in the preliminary rounds in Dorm, like, you know that you can hide drafts, and especially with the new patch, like, everyone wants to show different priority, so you can't look too much into what people play in Dorm, and like, you don't scrim each other either, so there's like always like the fear of like, oh, maybe they found some new OP or something, but we've made sure that we're well balanced in our drafts enough that we're ready for like any type of like first pick, second pick, whatever. So, but there is a lot of like mind gaming, like in open, like we'll just do some random drafts so they think like we care about this hero or whatever, or like even like our priority on like different maps, like we change it around and stuff just to like mess with teams that are trying to research. So like it's all wasted for them.
LSU keeps saying they have cheese strats for us or something. I don't know.
And do you guys have any like prediction of that? Like what, you know, like, or is it just?
I think we have a good idea of what they might try, and plus like these two, they're masters of cheese. Like they're the OG Blaze. Like
You can't cheese us. We were created by it, we were molded by it, and then we play other
the
stuff.
cheeses. Remember the cheeses? Like that's them. So if they ever try to cheese, like I just like, yeah, what counters that, man? They know everything. So.
You guys have always struck me as a pretty confident bunch. Do you think having that confidence is necessary to succeed on a stage like this?
I think definitely, like, you can even see it in the play of, like, some of the players, especially, like, the lesser-known ones or whatever. So for us, I think we're really well-balanced, and, like, especially, like, playing in the open and scrimming versus, like, some other top teams or even, like, HGC teams, like, we get that fear out of our system, like, as, like, because when we first started playing, it was like that. Like, Kevin was, like, he'd get intimidated by, like, whoever player or whatever, like, just, like, the team in general. Like, this team's really good, we're, like, kind of scared, but now, like, since we played versus those teams and like we've shown that we can beat them like in the open, like now we're like fearless versus like dorm teams because it's slightly less competition. So, but I can definitely see it in other teams like where they're like, you can tell that they're playing a little scared, and on stage like that'll be even more.
So, how do you guys plan to combat the curse of Yuji? The curse where you get him on your team and he's cursed?
Well, sometimes, you know, the curse exists. It's a meme by now. Sometimes, you know, we just can't win, but we get this out by using it on other people and saying that they're going to win, and then they end up losing before they even get to us. You can refer to UConn and Tennessee.
Thank you, Yuji.
That's like the most meta curse I've ever heard. So I have a question. So UTA, obviously huge esports. I'm wondering what kind of recognition you guys have on campus, if any. If I went to UTA's campus and I asked someone, hey, do you know the Heroes team? What would they say?
Definitely, more recently, we've gotten a lot more recognition. I know our school has been doing a lot to promote us on social media recently. And, you know, I believe we at the front page of our school newspaper as well. So we have a lot of promotion going on. We also have a watch party going on in our campus, and it's going to be good.
Follow-up. How do you compare this year's support from UTA to last year's?
Definitely, there's a lot more people watching, and they definitely are looking forward to our performance, and we're trying our best to show that. Our teachers have also been pretty supportive. They've been able to, you know, move around schedules. Last year we had a little bit more trouble doing that because it was the first time, but this year, no problems at all.
So just one of those, oh, they're actually doing something huge, let's help this year.
Yeah.
You guys are in the, as far as matchups go, the tougher of the matchups to start. What goes into the planning when you're taking on another #1 seed in another program that stands out above the rest as one of the best in the country?
I think first of all, I think it's better for us that we have a tougher semifinal matchup because that gives us the warm-up. Like, if we do end up winning, like, we're better prepared, at least in terms of our on-stage experience. But definitely, like, we have to take it one series at a time and not get ahead of ourselves in preparation, because, like, if you're spending all your time preparing for the finals and you get upset, like, there's no point. So we've spent, like, just about equal time on both teams, which is kind of like how we value both of the teams. Like, we expect LSU will make it, and we obviously are playing UC Irvine, and we kind of have like a 50-50 in terms of like our preparation split for them. So
LSU earlier said that they were wanting to play you in the finals. Do you want to play LSU in the finals?
We already beat them twice, so if they want to lose it third time, like, we're down, but we'll play whoever wins.
Nice.
So I have two questions. One to follow up on what it's like on campus. Has there been a resurgence of your guys' own school pride? You know, like before dorm and before you really represented your school. Like, was there any of that? Like, were you guys, bleeding the orange and blue, or like how is that now?
I think like before we even because when you're first getting into dorm, it's not like, it doesn't seem like a real thing, and then once you, like last year we didn't expect it to be such a big thing, especially that it was on TV last year, so once we knew that we were representing our university and all that came with it and the recognition and stuff, like we definitely got more involved after that, and now we know for this year like what it's like to represent your university and how to do that the best way, and just like overall like what school pride means a lot more.
And is that kind of the echoed sentiments? Do you guys kind of all feel that way?
Yeah. More energy.
Yeah, so you said more energy?
Yeah.
Nice. And my last question, you guys mentioned, I think early now you guys are the hunter. You feel as if you can really capitalize on that aggression. How does a Heroes team best capitalize on that aggression? Like, where does it start? Where does it start, and how do you really make use of that going into these matches?
I think first it starts in research, where you can see how other teams play their drafts, and then it transfers over to draft, and you figure out how your draft plays versus theirs, and how they ideally want to play theirs, and how you want to play yours. And like, let's say they have a really aggressive comp, but they're not playing it that way, then they'll have weaknesses in like their macro. So you can just exploit wherever they're weak. And a lot of the times, like these dorm teams, they have like holes in their play, so they'll sort of understand how to play their comp, but most of the time you could just find the hole and then just like play aggressive where you need to, and that catches them off guard a lot of the time. So.
Got time for one more? Get you both in.
Besides, obviously, the prize at the end, what would it mean to you guys to win the Heroes of the Dorm tournament?
I think for all of us, it's like validation, especially those of us that played last year, because it's like 2 years of work, and we'd have nothing to show for it if we lost, so it goes further than intuition for sure. And just in general, it's like the fact that we want redemption this year, and it's like more than just winning, it's like winning for last year as well too. So at least for us three, that's like, what about these two?
For me and Toby, when these three approached us and they wanted us to play with them, I kind of felt like it was, I don't want to say it was our job, but we wanted to really help them win, and like having that like gratification, like winning or like getting this far, it's just, that in itself is good enough for us.
There's one last question.
So not a mean question. How are you guys going to play on stage this year? Like, you guys got your nerves kind of intact, or feel better this year about that?
This year we're a lot more comfortable, and we know what it's like to be up there. Last year we kind of went through a tilt phase, and we've done as much as we can to make sure that doesn't happen again within our preparation. And this year, I think it's our year.
Okay, and who is the favorite E brother?
I always praise Toby, but because I think Toby's top 3 support in it. Just throwing that out there. But Kevin on LAN is a god, so it's a toss-up.
Definitely Toby.
That's all I got.
I want it because I'm trying to win. You just kidding.
Boys first. You're okay.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks, guys.
For being here. Congrats, guys, on making it to the heroic four of the 2017 Heroes of the Dorm. We're excited to have you. And like I said, we've got about 15 minutes, so who'd like to kick us off with the first question for University of Kentucky? Come on, don't be shy.
Hey guys, you said during the preview show that you've had trouble finding scrim partners. Does that mean that you've had to use Team League more to prepare, and if so, how has that worked out?
It's been a continual issue for us throughout the entirety of the time that we've been a team. We have had to rely a lot on Team League, I think more than a lot of other teams. Like UTA has been scrimming, professional teams and things like that. And I know there's been a lot of scrimming like internally between teams that aren't playing in the round of 4. We've definitely relied on it more than anyone else, and it is unfortunate at times because, there's just, not a huge population, so sometimes we get, uneven matches, but there are still, you just practice mechanics, you practice other things, you just try and work sort of individually on what you're trying to do, and then, just like, even though you're not going to face the greatest opposition, you still go, this is what we want to do, and then just sort of work on the general game plan as well. That being said, there are a lot of, good teams in Team League as well. There are a lot of people who play pretty regularly, so whenever we can get a game like that, we just take it a lot more seriously. We go, okay, this is a team against people who, are incredibly skilled, so let's just step it up and play like it's an actual game. So yes, we have had to rely on Team League, and it is somewhat unfortunate at times, but I think we made it work for ourselves.
Can you say a little more about why you are relying so much on Team League and sort of the lack of access to professional teams to practice against?
Well, I was gonna say it actually was a lot easier to scrim earlier in the tournament when there were more teams, but like the last 2 weeks now there's down to 4 teams. Like in the beginning it was really like we scrimmed Indiana a lot, we scrimmed Illinois some. There were schools that everybody wanted to scrim, so it was a lot easier to do that, right? But now that we're down to the Final 4. I feel like some of these other teams already had plans of like who they wanted to scrim, whereas we're relatively unknown. That's kind of caused like teammate doesn't want to scrim us. They're like, who are you? We don't care. So that's why it's come down a lot to Team League, and that's the big reason why I think.
Great. And as a follow-up, so you're coming in by far the lowest seed this year. Would you guys say that you were undervalued as a team, or do you think you've performed particularly well or unexpectedly well, or both?
The seeding is, we just think of it as somewhat arbitrary. In the round so the way that it worked was there was a round robin group of, you played 5 matches. We went 4-1 and we lost to Illinois, who's an overall 1 seed, who's an amazing team. And then that fed into a single elimination bracket that directly related to your seed in the round of 64. And again, we met Illinois and we lost to them there. So we've only lost to 1 team in the entire tournament, and it's Illinois, who is, again, an amazing team. They have, I would argue, some of the best macro play of they had the best macro play of anyone in the entire tournament. So being a 13th seed, we didn't really care. We knew what we were capable of, and everything else we just sort of tuned everything else out. Because that has been a really big storyline, and if someone says it to you enough times, you can almost start to believe it yourself. But we just had to continually tell ourselves, like, no, we know we're capable of this. We've put forth, a year's worth of work. Like, there's been long nights, there's been, just like a lot of work put into this. So we didn't take much stock into a 13th seed. We're in the round of 64. There's a match in front of us. We're going to play it. We don't care what their seed is. We don't care what our seed is. We know that if we play our best, we can give anyone in the entire tournament a run for their money.
You guys are 2 sets of 3 brothers, right?
Yes, we are.
I just noticed with the double checked, and I think I'm correct there. Does that dynamic play any role? Does the oldest brother take control? 2 oldest brothers ever fighting? Like, I'm the oldest of 3, so I'm just curious how that dynamic plays into playing as a team when you combine 2 teams of 3 brothers like that. Any interesting stories?
Yeah, if anything, it's like the 2 youngest of at least our family, John and myself, have a lot of head-butting issues, and the Ditterts have their own thing, but it's the 2 families allows like a second input of, oh, we do that, we know what that's like, so stop. And it's just like quickly, short-lived, intense bickering, but it's that's what helps just get it all out. And we kind of don't hang on to that stuff because it's just a family, right? Oh, sorry, yeah. And I don't know, I think that dynamic is what's helped us. And it just helps streamline a lot of things.
Do you ever have to draw the red line and say, like, okay, we're going out to pizza, like, no esports talk tonight, let's just do the families and friends thing?
I mean, we have done that. Like, just especially starting, like, because we are two sets of three brothers, but we didn't really know each other at the beginning, like the peanuts and the ditter. So we knew we were going to be in this for a long haul. So we did make an effort to, like, all right, let's hang outside, not on a computer, not on comms, like actually talk to each other, get to know each other. And just back to the brother thing in general, I know the peanut boys get a little more vocal in game and have kind of butt their heads there, whereas we kind of usually did it off camera, so to speak. We discuss things more in house, whereas they're a little more likely to boil over in the middle of a game.
Thanks, guys.
Yep. That's about good. That was me.
Any other questions?
You guys talked about the seeding not really mattering to you, but people talk about you guys being underdogs. So what does it mean to you guys to be an underdog in this tournament, going up against some of the big names in college esports and Heroes of the Storm?
I think we don't take stock in our seed because we know what we're capable of, but we recognize that, you know, I think that we represent something that I think is really cool. Like, none of us are established names in the scene, so we weren't, you know, 5 people who went, oh, we're really good at this game. Like, we didn't go, we're really good, so let's do dorms. We went, we really want to win this thing. Like, let's put everything else aside. Like, let's all of the things that we used to enjoy doing, like, we put for all the other games we played, like, those are on the back burner. We've just focused on this. So I think as the quote-unquote underdog, like, we've accepted that, you know, that's gonna be something that's said about us. You know, we think that it's pretty cool to be able to go, like, yeah, we're not the UTAs or the LSUs, but we're still here. Like, we didn't start at the same place, but we're both here now, and that's all that matters. And I think, you know, if anyone wanted to do this next year, like, work. There's no magic. There's nothing. It's just, if you want something enough, you just have to put forth the effort to get there. And I think we've showed that that can be the case.
Thanks, guys.
One other short question building on that. So a lot of the other teams that are here clearly have a really developed on-campus infrastructure around esports, especially UCI. What kind of stuff is going on at UK in terms of institutional support that's formal or informal, or is it just nothing?
Yeah, so up until I think last week, we weren't aware of any kind of programs or clubs or anything like that that were heavily involved. Like, there was talks of starting a TESPA chapter, but it never really fell through, or it did fall through. It never really came to fruition. But last week, we kind of got contacts about a new esports club they've been forming, and they're going to apply to be a TESPA chapter. So literally last week, like, we attended a meeting, and we're like, hey, okay, we got a new esports club. And so now we have a viewing party today. Held on campus, but like, it's only just started, and I think it's just because of us in dorm that it's starting to pick up on campus as far as like getting an actual institutionalized club or organization.
Yeah, outside of that, we didn't like receive a ton of support. Like, all the professors were like, wow, this seems pretty cool, but you're still going to take a 0 on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Does that motivate you guys?
I mean, sort of, but it just makes things a lot more hectic. Like, I know a lot of us, we got out of class on Wednesday and just hopped immediately on a flight. We were like I had a lab on Friday, and I just had to move it up to Wednesday, and then I got out of lab and went, oh, okay, I guess I'm flying to Las Vegas now. So it's just been more chaotic than anything. But when all of it's said and done, it's a bit of a motivator.
Yeah, like we hope that, like John was saying and Mike, that we hope that it does propel the school, and just like I hope more schools start to take notice too, that this is something that is legitimate and hopefully will be around for a long time.
Got about 4 more minutes. Or we can let those guys go straight.
But we can't.
Only got a few guys.
Do y'all see yourselves continuing to play HOTS professionally after Heroes of the Storm? Or continuing to practice and try to join the pro circuit?
Personally, yes.
I know that we've had, individual sort of aspirations towards that. It just, maybe not like concrete plans, but we go, why would we not try up until this point, right? If we've made it this far, some people don't want to and some people do. I think it's just a discussion we haven't had up until this point, like, very concretely, because we're just focused on this. But, I mean, that's always been in the back of my mind. Like, you saw, Michael Udall and Aquaface after last year, right? Like, right? They had Gale Force after that, or like, I don't even know the exact timeline, but it fed into sort of their careers. So, I mean, it's always something that I think some of us are considering. We'll just sort of see after this competition how it goes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
We'll give you a couple minutes back. Thanks so much for your time and good luck today.
Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Get them.
Local boys, UCI.
Hi there. So one of the things that I've been really interested in when I'm talking to these teams is where you think your role is in terms of the underdogs, the favorites to win, and how does that impact your play? So I guess what I'm really asking is, where do you guys see yourself in this whole tournament?
So, obviously UTA is the favorite to win right now, and from what I'm hearing, we're the team that is, I guess, the UTA stoppers, because if we don't stop them, nobody else will. And so, I don't know if we're necessarily underdogs, but we're like the underdog in this matchup, which isn't a huge underdog, but basically we're looking to be the favorite team out there, mostly because Irvine is closest to Las Vegas, so I think we have the most support. And just the fact that obviously Blizzard's behind us too, so all of Blizzard staff's going to be watching us and going, yeah, UCI is way better.
So, personally then, how do you guys, how did you guys come together as a team? What is your style in which you feel the most confident playing in?
So as a team, we've kind of been together for a few years. Myself, Albert, and then Cameron played for Heroes of the Dorm team last year. We made it to the round of 16 before losing to University of Washington. This year we've added on 2 new players who have really helped us up our game and have brought us here to this live event, as well as obviously more experience in the game itself. As for a team, we have a lot of different styles of play, and I think that we're going to be strongest when we have established strategies that we have and can really predict what UTA is going to do based off of what we think is a high level of confidence going in that they can just kind of run over every other team here.
We're most known for the Wombo combo, though. Explosive zero tool play by Y Hero there.
A lot of people in and around esports know how important UCI is to the scene. How important would it be for you guys to bring a championship to UCI?
So the UCI esports program just started officially this year, and I transferred here for it. Unfortunately, all the other teams have been eliminated. League of Legends, Overwatch, I believe Hearthstone as well. So we're like the last chance to take home the first place crown for the program this year.
Yeah.
And just follow up, what's it been like on campus now that you do have the program established? What has the mood or the buzz on campus been about the esports program?
The program has definitely been supported by a lot of the people in UCI because it's one of the best campuses for gamers as advertised. TAG, the Association of Gamers, is the gaming club on campus, and it's one of the biggest gaming clubs in the nation or in the world, I believe. And the esports arena is really cool. Like a bunch of gamers just come there, play games, and yeah, it's been really great having all the support around, you know, just playing games competitively and not be seen as an outsider.
To add on to that real fast, so as someone who played on the Heroes of the Dorm team last year, the difference in the level of support has been huge. So last year we played for UCI, but there was no real involvement with anyone at UCI. We didn't talk to anyone actually from UCI. We just we were the best UCI team, so we got the coordinator from the school to sign up with us, and then that was about the extent of our involvement. This year it's been completely different. We've had a lot of support in terms of computers at the Esports Arena, which is a LAN cafe at UCI, and then just involvement in the clubs in general. So now there's Facebook groups, and whereas last year there might have been like a post like, oh, we made round of 64 in this. It wasn't, there wasn't like anyone making posts after our games, and now, when we finish a really close set and we go on, there's multiple posts from people about how, oh my god, that was such a close set. I can't wait to see them in Vegas. It was really nice to see. Just that level of involvement has definitely increased since the UCI esports program officially launched.
We've also gotten support from our sponsors. HyperX gave us an Ally FPS keyboard and also a Cloud Revolver headset, which are really, really nice. Plug? I love this stuff, so I don't see a plug here. I use it all the time.
As you guys see, that stage over there is huge, and there's lights, and it's flashing, and it's going to be even louder. Is that something that is inherently exciting for you guys? Does that pump you up? Do you feel like you're going to play better? Or do some of you look at that and, like, it's intimidating, And if so, how do you deal with that as a team?
Yeah. So, the stage for me is both exciting and intimidating, but we cope with this by trash talking each other. It helps us relax ourselves, and we play better as a result, especially when people start playing worse because they're nervous. By trash talking each other, we kind of start laughing more and get more comfortable in the game.
I mean, can I hear some sort of example, like how does that sound?
Ryan doesn't pick his talents.
Levels late.
And he picks the incorrect ones too.
That's a lie.
Also, he face checks brushes. I have to tell him to moonfire.
That was true.
That was true.
Oh, and Bloody slides inappropriately by sliding not on the other heroes, but to just kind of make them not want to run to their team. So I like slide in front of them instead of on them. So, I don't need to stun them or anything.
So, one last question then. This sort of, how do you put it, like a casual and almost really fun approach that you guys seem to carry on this tournament, is this something that you guys have always had and this is kind of why you're a team? Or is this something that has been adopted in order to deal with these high stress scenarios?
We've experienced it throughout the entire tournament since we've actually dropped games more than the other teams. Being down, we still have that positive going atmosphere, which really helps us reset our mentality for the next game and keep focused on winning. And it's a fresh game; anything could happen. The last game doesn't matter at this point.
Just one more question about the guys talking about trash talking each other in game. Does that? I've always been curious when it comes to esports in situations like this, in high pressure scenarios. Does that keep the game fun? And is this game easier to play well at when it feels fun?
I definitely think it makes it fun. And a lot of times, if you're focused and you make a mistake, it at this level because you either die or someone else dies because of it, and you're stuck there staring at a screen for 20 seconds. And if you start dwelling on that, you're gonna overcompensate or just be off your game. And so by making jokes about it, having a laugh up there, it does really help you kind of get your mind back on the game, focus on the next thing instead of focusing on the mistake you just made. It might happen again if you focused on it.
Hey, so two quick questions about UCI. So the first is, obviously you have this great esports arena, LAN Cafe. Do you actually practice there, or do you practice from your dorm?
So when I transferred, I didn't bring a laptop, or I only brought my laptop. So I wanted to be able to play on a nice desktop. 144 hertz, all the nice peripherals. So playing in the arena is definitely how I practice like all my games. And as a team, we'd come in and practice as a team, and also just like a couple of us whenever we have time. So.
Okay. And question 2 has to do with, so the guys from UK were talking about, they were telling the professors, I'm going to Vegas this week, and the professors were like, all right, well, you're still going to, you're not going to do absence or anything. So how about your professors? Are they just vis-a-vis the recognition of esports on UCI's campus? Did you get any leeway with classes and work?
So I guess we had a little letter we could email our professors, and my professors replied. They just said, okay, good luck, and represent UCI well, so yeah.
For us, it was also the first week of school, so there wasn't like too much to miss as well. It wasn't like finals or anything.
Yeah, my film and media professor was actually really into it. When I sent him the email, he replied back good luck, hope you guys bring back the win for UCI. He was pretty hyped compared to my other professors, so that was kind of cool.
I was doing my homework before this interview.
All right, so you guys, your first round matchup is going to be against UTA. Now, because of their history on Team Blades, they are unarguably one of the hardest teams to build a comp against because of how they can cheese you. How do you prepare for that in terms of drafting, especially map pick as well? Because I don't even know how to draft around weird heroes that they can draft.
So one of the things that we noticed kind of coming in from last year's Heroes of the Dorm and into this year is that they think they've fixed a lot of the mistakes that they used to make, and they're also a lot more confident this year. Just talking to them at the event, I'm friends with some of them, so I've been whispering to them even during the group stages of the event. They're very sure that they're the best team here, so I actually don't see them picking any cheese or anything really wonky. Just because I think that they think that they are going to be able to just play standard, avoid getting cheese, and we'll win. They don't need to do some risky, maybe we miss the Stitches hook so we lose the game kind of strategies, because they think that they can just play standard and beat every other team here. So we actually haven't planned around too much of their cheese. We're just trying to pick our own strong comps into what we think that they're going to pick, what they view as just a strong, standard, and safe comp. And we're hoping to kind of take advantage of what we think will be an overly safe and overly standard draft.
And if that doesn't work, I hear they're lactose intolerant.
Building off of that, not the lactose intolerant, but UTA is the favorite in the tournament and one of the favorites of just in general, but you guys are also a #1 seed and come from a very prestigious program. So what does it mean to you guys to be an underdog in this matchup?
It's pretty nice because if we win this match, we win the tournament pretty much.
I also think being in a team environment where everyone's playful and super chill, it's a lot easier being an underdog because we're gonna try our hardest, but it's not we don't have too much pressure on ourselves. That negative pressure at least.
Yeah, I think the amount of pressure that's been on us, as an underdog type of team, has really been kind of consistent, and we expected that going into it because we've been dropping games in almost every series. So it's kind of we just expect to be considered an underdog, and we're just gonna go with it, and we'll see how we do.
It also helps because with UTA, all the pressure's on them. They lost last year 3-0. They don't want to lose again this year. This is their last year, I think. So the pressure's not exactly on us to win because we're not expected to win. We've never really been expected to win. So all we have to do is either, overpass, I don't know what the word is. Exceed, thank you. Exceed expectations, or just do what we were supposed to do, come here to Vegas, lose to UTA, and then go celebrate in Vegas later.
Anyone else? Got a couple more minutes, so we can let these guys go.
Take your talents. We'll see. I don't need them for UTA.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that the
Go
zone?
Tigers.
Rainy J.
Well, don't be shy, guys.
I asked this at UK a minute ago, but I'll ask you guys as well. So I'm curious about what kind of resources you found on campus in terms of the kind of, do you get official support from like the administration, a TESPA chapter? What kind of like resources are going on in terms of like esports infrastructure?
So I'll talk about this as I'm kind of one of the founding members of our esports club. So on campus, we're a very new club. We're about 18 months old. We had a League of Legends club, which kind of died, so we then turned that into our esports club. We're 18 months old. We aren't old enough to get official club status, as in like a sports club, so we're not there yet. Come next semester, we're going to apply for that, and we go through the student recreation for that. But as it is right now, the only support we get is from Student Life. They're extremely happy with our growth, with how we've done, how far we've come. We went from 30-person LAN to 140-person LAN, so that growth was huge. But as for athletics department, say like compare it to UCI, we're nowhere near that yet.
There's a viewing party on our campus too, so that's pretty awesome that they're holding that specifically for us. I think they said if we win, we might get a giant banner of like our picture on the school, so that'd be pretty cool. So
yeah, with the viewing party, as soon as we qualified, me and our esports president, we literally went to our student life department. We're like, hey, this is what we've done, this is where we're going, what can you guys help us with? So straight away they were like, go see this person, this person, this person, get this room booked, do this, do that. And it was a little bit weird because the person we had to go to from event management were like, hey, we just did this awesome thing, and they were extremely like coarse about it, I guess. They kind of turned us away at first. We're like, oh, just go online. They didn't really want to like talk to us about it. But then once we contacted our student life again, and they were like, hey, come on. And from there on, we were able to get it done. TESPA have supported us as well. They've just sent a load of stuff over. So the viewing party starts at 2 p.m. Central back in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And yeah, hopefully we got a good turnout. It's right in the student union. We're going to have people coming past, just walking past, they'll see LSU on screen, and hopefully they sit down and take a look.
I'm curious to know, like, what were your guys' relationship before you decided to do Dorm? Were you guys friends? Were you guys come together specifically for this tournament? Like, just what your relationships were before this all happened?
Well, Drayden and myself have been friends since elementary school. We go back, obviously, really far. Drayden and I we started esports together. We played StarCraft 2 a lot, and that's kind of really what got us into competitive gaming. And the rest of us, like Vicuri and Hecarim, myself and Drayden, we all went to the same high school, and we've been friends for a really long time. And for the most part, we've always kind of done the same thing. We always hang out together. It's always really lighthearted, really kind of just relaxed for the most part. But whenever we're serious, we get serious. And as for Hollis and Wins, well, we've been knowing Hollis for a little bit now. Wins a little bit less so, but you know, in terms of all of us together, we really mesh. We really kind of just joke around, and it really helps us in terms of just staying focused and getting everything together and getting the goal in sight and everything like that.
Going back to the question previous about talking about support, whose family was in the front very first?
Yeah, that was mine. They were first in line
First
too.
in line.
First in line. They were like, we're getting there 8:45, first in line, front row.
Yeah,
Yep.
inside info. They were out there making friends with media and people in the line and asking questions. I just want to know, like, is that big for you? I mean, I feel like that is a big, would be a big motivator for me. How do you feel about that?
It's amazing. I think my family. I think typically in esports you see a little less parental support. Just in general, people think it's not usually a great way to live your life. I think my family in particular has always supported me really, really amazing. My aunt specifically, she always watches like all our games. It's just amazing to have them here just to support me, and it's great.
Just following on from that as well, Nick's aunt / godmother, right? She has actually DM'd me congratulating us on Twitter. She DM'd Artemis, who's our manager, saying thank you for looking after like the LSU guys, making sure they're all on point. So she's really supportive, not just of Nick, but of the entire team as a whole.
That's great.
Seeding-wise, you guys are the favorites going up in this first matchup. How do you guys fight complacency going up against a double-digit seed being the perennial favorites?
So, I don't think that you should look at them as a double-digit seed. In the regional seeding tournament where you actually get seeded, they had a different player on their roster, and then going into the round of 64, they ended up changing their roster. I think they look much stronger now. So we're definitely not taking them lightly. We've prepared drafts. We've watched their VODs, you know. So I definitely don't think we're very complacent going up against Kentucky. We definitely think they're a strong contender.
And then follow up, you guys have had a bit of a feud and a rivalry with UTA. What would you do differently if you were to see them in the finals?
So our games against UTA in the past, we didn't really prep. So the first game was the 5th round of Swiss, which was meaningless. It was straight up, didn't mean anything. I think we can all agree that. Didn't matter if we won 0-2 or lost 0-2, we were still going to make it here. So we didn't actually prep for that. We got destroyed, that's fine, don't care. Second game was the regional finals in the South. It meant a little bit. Getting first seed in the region obviously would have been great, but we're here with number 2, so again, that doesn't matter. We were definitely a lot stronger. We had a coach at that point for like 4 hours before that game who actually helped us a tremendous amount. So again, shout out to Aether for that one. He came on board. He didn't have to. He's not from LSU, but he came, helped us, and just in that game alone, it showed. But again, didn't matter if we went 2-0 or 0-2. Our path here was still the same. And I actually think it was better that we lost those 0-2, because if we took a game off UTA, it would have been a wake-up call for them. They would have been like, oh, these guys can actually beat us. We actually have to start prepping. I personally don't think they respect us as much as they should, and that's definitely an advantage for us. They probably didn't research us as much as we researched them, and that's definitely going to be great for us. As for the rivalry, I also think that from the first game in Dorm, we could only go upwards. We could only ever improve, and we have done. I think UTA have been stagnant throughout, and that's showed throughout the HGC Open as well. They started off as the top contender, the strongest team, where they didn't lose a game in like 6 months through any tournament, whereas now they're starting to drop games. They lost a series to Even in Death. They almost dropped a game and a bit to Laval in the round of 8. So definitely we've got stronger, they've got weaker. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, I think it also has to be said that them being undefeated is, I think, to our advantage as well. They don't know what defeat is like. And whenever it comes down to it, whenever they really taste that defeat for the first time, which we plan on it, they're not going to know how to react. They're not going to be able to know how to adjust to it. So, you know, them going undefeated in the entirety of the bracket until now, I really think is going to hurt them.
This question is mainly for Drayden and Heck. How have you balanced playing on 2 teams at the same time that are both in very high-pressure situations?
I can start it. It is not easy. I've had a lot of sleepless nights. My schoolwork has kind of been it's been greatly affected by that. But I think the biggest thing is just stay focused on what your end goal is. Making HGC would quite literally change my life, and winning Dorm would allow me to do part-time while still competing in HGC, which is what I really want to do. Because right now I'm in dietetics. I'd really like to be like a researcher for food science. It's something I've been interested in since I was a kid. So it is very difficult, but I'm trying to keep my head straight on, and we'll see where it goes from there.
You know, when people ask me what my hobbies are, I say, you know, I don't have a girlfriend because I'm married to the game, quite literally. I mean, we spend sometimes upwards of 36 hours a week prepping. On LFM, we scrim 4 hours a night, LSU 2 to 4, and it's very hard. I'm a chemical engineering student, and that's not easy, and I agree, schoolwork has been affected. So it's basically sleep, school, and HOTS, and
sometimes you skip out and sleep.
Yeah, so sleep is definitely an issue. I mean, coming into this week, since we had to miss 3 days of class, I had to just bust it hard over the weekend and got like 2 hours sleep a night, and luckily I've been sleeping pretty well while I'm here. Making HCC and winning Dorm would be a complete game changer. Probably have the same kind of mindset as Heck, and yeah, it's very difficult.
I kind of want to add to that though.
them being on LFM has definitely shaped out the team to be even better. We get different inputs from their teammates on LFM, and we get their coaching staff up in Oz too a little bit every now and then. And then I think, although there are its negatives of them being on two teams and whatnot, and scrim quality maybe going down a little bit after scrimming for like 6 hours in a row, it's definitely helped LSU, I think, on the long run too. And LFM, I mean, LFM weren't they were a top 4, amateur team, but now they're #1. Like, the work's been showing, even though, all this stuff is sacrifice, it's like been coming together, like all the hard work is already done, and now it's when it really shines, So I think it's been both, there is negatives, but there's also a lot of positives from that aspect of the team.
Kind of going off that, when Kentucky was up here, they mentioned that they didn't get any love from any professors in terms of like getting excused out of the Wednesday through Friday. I'm wondering if you guys, did you guys experience the same thing? Did you guys get excused out of stuff? Like, what was the situation in terms of taking these past couple days off?
For myself, I had 3 professors telling me like that's cool. In fact, one of my professors actually made me go to his office hours and explain what Heroes of the Dorm is. So then I had to go through the website and explain the game to him for like an hour conversation and to get the excuse. But he finally let me slide. But I had one professor that actually was like, "No, I don't buy it. Sorry." So. That's me.
For me, it was pretty easy. I'm in a pretty relaxed major. I'm a PR major, so I actually went to one of my professors was like, "Hey, I need to write like this PR statement that we can send out to people at the university to say, hey, what we can do." So she was on board from that. She actually helped me formulate that and bring it together. So she was confident in excusing me. I'm taking 5 classes. 4 out of the 5 said it's fine, and it's a good thing that the one that didn't even reply to me, I don't go to her class anyway, so.
Yeah, mine were just like, all right. That's about it. Just like, all right, sure.
Yeah, we're the same over here.
LSU has a pretty rich tradition in sports and success in sports. What would it mean for you guys to bring home a championship to Louisiana State?
What's funny is that LSU's very well known for having this huge fan base for all their sports, and while esports isn't exactly mainstream for LSU, I still feel like we have all these people that I've never even heard of, I don't talk to, I don't know, come to me directly, be like, "Yo, we're rooting for you. This is awesome. We hope you guys win." And so, feeling like a crowd favorite, it feels amazing. I didn't know we'd get this much support.
Yeah. Just going off that as well, we walked down to breakfast today, and Nick's parents came in. Nick's family, I didn't know who they were, but they were wearing LSU colors. They were wearing Go Tigers shirts, purple and gold, and even that in itself was just kind of surreal. Seeing that people are here wearing school colors to support us, it's something that's insane, especially for me coming from the UK. School spirit just doesn't exist back home. Coming over here, my first game in Death Valley, going to see a football game was absolutely insane, and getting that, obviously not to the same extent, but getting some support that can match that it feels great.
Also, I think a lot of people don't understand that esports can literally change your life. I think a lot of people, they think sports that way. They think going to the NFL and whatnot, they obviously see that as a successful career. I mean, this is $75,000 in scholarship money we're talking about. I mean, this can completely change someone's life in terms of school and grades. And so I think bringing it back might interest a lot of people into saying, "Oh, well, this is actually pretty legit. This is definitely an option. Maybe I'll look into it."
Especially in the South as well. You have schools like UCI and all these UC schools that are supporting esports, whereas us down in Louisiana, we're rich in hunting, we're rich in fishing, just all that kind of stuff. Everyone loves guns down there, so it's completely different to esports. I mean, it's true.
You said you're a PR major,
yes.
Dietetics.
Yep.
Any thoughts of, maybe you don't go all the way and make it as a pro? Any thoughts going into taking your guys' majors and tying that into esports?
So for me, I have a rich background in esports anyway. I come from the UK scene. I started playing League. I took a year and a bit out for esports just to play League competitively at the amateur scene in the UK. From there, I went into online admin for ESL UK. From there, it was CSGO casting. Did some league casting as well, and Heroes casting. And also, I now do league ops for ESL Global. So I get to go to events like, I'm already booked in to go to ESL Pro League Finals in Dallas over summer to do league ops. Probably Cologne as well. Last year I did the Cologne Major, Katowice qualifiers. So I have a background in esports. It's something I'm aiming to do. PR can definitely help out in that as well, be it actually in PR, be it product management, be it communication, something along those lines. So for me, I do plan on staying in esports, whether I make it here or not. If we do or don't win, I'll probably just I'll probably take a step back from playing Heroes and more look to casting and try and go back to my roots in that aspect. So that's me. I'll stay in esports for a while to come.
Thank you.
I just really hope we make HGC. I don't know what I'm gonna do if I mean I am interested in dietetics, but it's a very demanding major, and because of the time I've had to sacrifice for Here's the Storm, it's greatly affected my position in this major. So, you know, if I don't make HGC, if we don't win dorm, I go see some counseling, see where I want to go with life. But for now, I have my eyes set on HGC and dorm.
Appreciate it, guys.
Good luck. Thanks, guys. Good luck.
Congratulations, that was a pretty dominating performance. Thanks again for coming up here. We've got about 15-20 minutes with these guys, so who would like to kick us off here?
So obviously we've had some great champions for Heroes of the Dorm. Going undefeated, do you guys feel like this makes you the best team in Heroes of the Dorm history?
No, I think each team had their own unique run, and although we have the story of getting 3-0 last year and coming back, which I think will always be unique, I don't necessarily think that we're more special than anyone else who's won it. More so, we're just glad that we finally were able to do it.
Are you guys going to stay together, make a run at the HGC Crucible?
Yeah, definitely we're staying together, at least up until the Crucible, and we've been practicing, and you know, we're still moving forward.
Are you gonna win? Are you gonna do it?
Of course we're gonna win.
So are you guys heading back to Arlington tomorrow, I assume?
Yeah.
And you guys, so how much work do you have to do for school when you get back?
Pretty decent amount, because we've been out since Tuesday was our last day of class. So we have 3 days to catch up on, but it's no problem, man.
And how are you going to celebrate tonight?
You know, go to bed early, maybe 8 p.m., you know.
Don't see him. In true Vegas style.
I'm 20 years old.
Right on. Hey guys, how influential or how much of a difference did it make to have a team of 6 versus a team of 5? And when preparing for this, it seemed like you guys had just an edge based on really mastering every category of possibility, right? Like drafting, macro, team fighting, and then having pre-made plans, like plays to make. How do you think your preparing is different than maybe the other teams kind of getting ready for all this?
For the first part, I mean, having 6 people is definitely a big bonus because you don't have to worry if something happens. You know, we have the sub ready, and that's always just another thing we don't have to worry about. And obviously having Tony here, he's been really just handling everything for us, and cheering us on when we're stressed or whatever. He's been our de-stressor, I guess you could say. Really friendly guy. But as far as the second part, I think that a big reason why we had an edge up is that we knew what the tourney was like from last year, especially how the LAN event kind of shaped up to be last year and the mistakes that we made. So we kind of had the blueprint going forward of what we did wrong exactly. So we knew exactly how to practice, and I think as far as what we did better than other teams is, we just were more organized and we're more effective, and I think we were overall better, but just the work we put in was probably more than anyone else by double, and also more efficient as well.
I also think we had a way bigger hero pool than most players here.
Killed us.
So that helps us drafting.
What do you think the key component was in terms of just dominating through this tournament?
Well, as a team, we were able to rally around Kier, and he really brought our team together. We had a very stable backbone with the two E brothers, and we were able to just play to our comforts, and we just controlled the game in the way we would like to.
That's the way to do it.
Also, to add to that, I think the amount of work Kier has put into the team like really shows, and the effort he put shows. Like, I feel like we wouldn't have gone as far without Kier, and he's a biggest proponent to our success. And like, for me and Toby, we trust him 100%, and I feel like that makes it a lot better for us.
Everyone gather around for a group picture. Carefully come up on stage, very carefully.
So, you guys absolutely dominated every game that you were in. Did you enjoy your matches, or was it just like it was so easy you weren't having any fun?
Take a few steps back.
I think definitely like Toby was getting so hyped. Like he was screaming people's names. Like at the end of game 1, he was just like randomly screaming names, and we were just all cracking up laughing because we knew the game was over. But just he was like Ariel, and everyone's hitting Ariel already, but he was screaming so loud. We just like we're all dying laughing, and I mean it definitely felt more comfortable. Like I think the first series we kind of got the nerves out, especially game 1. Of the semifinal, I think I got outdrafted really hard, and for us to like come back from that, like we're losing fights that game too, and like to come back from that, and like I called a really good core there, so like after that I think it was smooth sailing, and we were having a lot of fun.
Cool, thank you.
All right, everyone look over here, in the center here, with the...
It's interesting you say you got outdrafted in game 2, but I'll pass by that. Is there any other moment, or did you say one? Sorry, I thought you outdrafted them in every game, but was there any other moment where, like during the game, where you actually thought like, wow, they might actually take this game? Maybe not we're gonna lose this, but did you ever think that like, oh, they're actually showing some life here? Was there any moment of that in the final?
In the final, in game 1, I think when we tried to flank them bottom, and we like 3 of us died, I think. That felt kind of hard, but we still had like top keep. So, and I think we believed in our comp a lot more, and I think our comp was better. So, I think that was probably the closest part was that game 1. Other than that, I think we knew that like we could win every game.
Smooth sailing. Good job, guys.
What was the turning point in this tournament when you knew that you guys were pretty much going to ease into a championship and be able to win it all?
I think like towards the middle of game 2 of the finals, because like before the finals, like we didn't have that much info on LSU, and like we even argued a lot over our own like draft priority, so like we were kind of lost, but we finally figured it out like the past couple of weeks, like what we wanted, and like we just like we kind of went in blind like to the finals. Like the first draft was like all over the place, but so that's why like it was really suspenseful to the end and like stressful too, because like trying to prepare the drafts this year was really hard, I think.
And then what lessons did you learn in this tournament that you can apply now going forward as a team?
I feel like one of the biggest lessons that I've learned, I don't know about Toby, but having more faith in your teammate. Like when we first made the team, I was really apprehensive of how the other 3 played, but like over time I learned to trust them more with drafting and like shot calling. So like I put all my faith into them, knowing like I know Kier will make the right call when it comes down to it.
I think for me, I don't really consciously think about everything I do in the game, and I pretty much just inherited all my playstyle and all my decision makings in the game from my brother and from Kier, because he always says a lot of things about me, and he always tries to help me and kind of coaches me like my brother did for me. And a lot of it kind of just integrating to how I play. So I feel like most of the time that when I play is just pretty much a culmination of what my team's done for me.
It might be hard to answer because you guys had such a dominating series, but was there ever a mistake or a bad moment that you would have changed or something you would have done differently while you were playing?
I think UCI first draft was like the big one. I think also the map ban, like we banned Praxis but we had like a really solid draft. But we thought LSU would take us there, so we wanted to hide our Praxis draft. And like Temple, we didn't prepare at all, and it showed. So probably just like the way that whole first series went. Even like the second game was like not the smoothest. Like we showed Vala Ario, which we didn't want to either, even though we didn't play it in the finals. So I think just the way we handled the semis, but we recovered really quick in the finals, so it worked out.
So UCI had a very light-hearted approach to the finals of like, oh, we're here, we want to have a good time. That's what's really important. And do you think that gave you an advantage, or do you think it's more important to have a more serious outlook on the competition than the more lighthearted side?
I think there's a time to have fun and a time to take it seriously. So for us, we are having fun all the way up until it's game time. Then we're serious, because then you're not stressing out all the time and just panicking about what you have to do. You come up with your set plan before the event and you refine it as it goes on. And so I think UC Irvine's approach is great. They came in here to have fun, and still they did really, really well in the games against us, and yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Thanks.
First off, congratulations, you guys. That was a really amazing tournament that you guys put on. And I guess now that you guys are champions, what do you think will be the biggest challenge for the next Heroes of the Dorn champion? Like, what do you think is going to be the favorite, and what do you think will be like the biggest contention for them?
I think like they can just learn a lot from what we did, because we learned a lot from ASU. Like we talked a lot to, or at least I did specifically, talked a lot to Mike Udall about how he prepared for the event, and especially like when you have 5 people who like they didn't choose to play together, like they just happened to go to the same school. So that's like a lot different than just like creating a team with people you like or friends or whatever. Like sometimes personalities clash, and so like I guess part of that is like saying what advice I'd give to the next Dorn champion, but I'd just say like make sure that you work out all the conflicting things and you make sure you're like well prepared for that, and should be good to go. Like other than
that. I have this question, and I'd like to hear each of you guys answer it personally, so you just kind of go down the line, but how did this, you guys won, this is like there's a lot of money, a lot of commitment that happened here. How is this going to affect your relationships with like your comrades, like your friends at school, but then also your personal life, your family? How are they going to look at you different? How are they going to look at the game different? Like, I'm kind of wondering what it's like to be in your guys' shoes. Are you going to end up coaches? Are you going to end up like having a lot of people come up to you and go like, look at you different, because it's just changing the shape of the next few years of your life?
For me personally, my family does not support me playing games at all, so it's a big step for them to get to see me win something and make something happen out of gaming. Because they just look at me and you're like, you're just going to college, you're just playing games all day, you're gonna come out a failure or something. So it's a big morale booster for my family to see me win.
Awesome. Yeah, for me, I pretty much made a deal with my parents. If we won, I would be able to, I'd get like 6 months to pursue my passion in esports after graduation. And, this gives me the opportunity to take that chance and, look for a job within esports instead of, taking a standard career path, which a finance degree would typically entail.
Yeah, for me personally, echo the same sentiments of the parents and validation and all that, and also, I think also like personal self-doubt as well, whether like, especially a game like Heroes, which, a lot of people are like, oh, not as big, etc. So it's like, you're putting so much time into this, and it's really all or nothing. So if we lost, not only this year, but last year, it would seem like pretty much a waste in terms of like actual tangible results, like that isn't just like fun or whatever. So like there's self-validation, there's validation from people around us, and like even my friends, like now they understand the gaming thing, like why I've like had no social life for the past like 3 months, and like what gaming actually can like do for you, generally speaking. So just like validation, all that stuff, it's all gonna happen.
My parents are actually pretty okay with me and my brother playing games. It's more like after winning this, it'll, I think, open their eyes, and like rather than saying, "Oh, you're just wasting time playing video games," I mean, like they're okay with us playing video games from time to time, but like they'll have a different approach. Whereas like, you guys can do something with this rather than it's just a waste of time.
I think moving forward, this really does change my life a little bit because me and my brother for the past 2 years has been trying to help me try to proceed to go into, try to pursue into pro gaming. So being able to come to an event like this at a huge LAN and being able to meet my teammates face to face and play together and play on a huge stage really shows that I do have some capabilities and I have what it takes to be a pro gamer, and I really, it helps me move forward on my life, and it shows me that I do have a lot of potential, and if pro gaming is maybe not even what I could go into in the future, then it does help me with my morale about going to the IT field and making connections with people at Blizzard.
Sorry, my parents are pretty supportive. They just said, if you're gonna do something, try it out. Like, and they're pretty supportive of it. They're pretty old-fashioned, so, but they do believe that like if it makes you like successful in life, you can achieve it. Even like it doesn't, like no one can judge you. It's really all up to you. And if you can succeed in this career, it'd be good as well.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
So there is no MVP screen after Heroes of the Dorm game. You guys had so many clutch plays. If you had to vote for an MVP after that series, who would you each vote for?
Toby.
Kevin, probably.
I'd say Kevin.
Thinking.
I'd say Kieran.
I'd like to say Kevin because of that sick mosh, but I think Toby's support was really dank.
I think everybody played really well.
Yeah, we all had.
Oh, we can't say.
Everyone had like moments, like it doesn't always happen like that. Like everything just came together. I think like everyone had like a highlight reel play. I think like huge with the misclick hinterland blast.
Yeah.
Like, just hitting everyone with 4 people. Like,
yeah, that
or
was
like
awesome.
Kevin hitting random moshes. Like he did it like 3 games. Like I think almost every game he hit like an insane mosh or 2. And then like just everyone playing really solid. So yeah.
Got time for 1 or 2 more?
Just getting back to the HGC question. It sounds really bizarre, by the way, to like hear my voice while I'm sorry. But so when you're in the HGC, assuming you make it through Crucible, that's going to be a more intense competition than I imagine what you faced today. So my question is, what are you going to do to evolve your game so that you'll be able to compete in the major leagues, as it were?
I think a lot of the times when we have scrimmed against HGC teams like fairly often, and we've always like anytime we lose, we'd be like, oh, but they're HGC teams, we're dorm teams. Like we won't have that to fall back on, and we have to like a lot of the mistakes we made or like issues we had with each other or like all that, like a lot of it could be brushed off because we just need to like get in shape for dorm like this much. So, but now like we have to like clean all of that up, and because in HGC you get punished way harder for like even the smallest, like if you're not on the same page or mistakes or whatever that we couldn't, like we would just gloss over those. So we have to like clean it up all the way, I think, for HGC.
So you're probably also not going to go 24-0 in the HGC. How do you think you guys are ready to deal with losing, you know, regularly and real competitive games? Like, how are you going to deal with that?
I think we're ready to deal with that. We've, you know, in scrims, we've obviously practiced with HGC teams, and it's really, you know, we're used to losing sometimes. I mean, I've lost a lot in my HOTS career, so I'm just a sore loser, and we just got to get better so it doesn't happen.
I honestly feel like that. I honestly feel like that our team right now could easily get into HGC with Kira as our captain. I feel like the work that Kira puts in, and if he continues to put in that effort moving forward, that we really shouldn't have that much of a problem with getting into HGC and staying as a HGC team.
Other than homework, what's the first thing you're going to do when you get back to school?
Sleep. I have an exam Monday morning.
Oh, man. I got 3.
I think I'll meet up this week.
I'll meet up with my old friends, because, like, I feel like I cut out everyone off, basically, because it's, like, it's been, like, 10 hours of HOTS, then, like, research, sleeping. Like, I barely slept. Like, the past, like, 3 months, I've been sleeping, like, 4 hours a day, like, max. Just super practicing, making sure we win. So, probably sleep a lot, catch up on schoolwork and friends.
I'd probably go visit my parents. They probably want to say hi.
All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. Congratulations. If we could keep you up there for a quick photo.
Yeah, do a quick photo of you guys real quick.